What's going on, everybody? It has been so long since I've done a live on Facebook. For those of you who don't know, I've stopped doing my Facebook live videos, and I've used YouTube now as my platform. For anybody wondering why they haven't seen me live on here in a long time, I've moved myself to YouTube. If you'd like to subscribe and keep up with me, my YouTube channel is Red Pill Rabbit Hole. And the only reason I do these videos is to help other people in their evolution, in their revolution. A revolution is not where a group of people overthrow a system. It is discovering the very system that is behind this world. And you must come to a point to realize that what you are viewing the world through is where the answer lies. Right from behind your eyes, what you perceive to be the world and everything in it, is already the answer you seek. So for instance, I had somebody last night messaging me about, what should I do? I feel like I'm losing sense of who I am. I'm losing touch with reality. And what can I do next? And the best thing you can do is let this world dissolve right before your eyes. This is how we experience death before the end. We associate death with an off, a permanence of being off, just silence of nothingness forever. But we must realize off is not a stage, off is not a face, right? We've given this face of on, of life, a stage or a face. And so now the opposite side has a face to it, off or death, which is what we prolong, but we do not realize we predominantly call ourselves a human race, and we are always looking for the evolution of this human race. But this will not happen as a collective, because the collective is the very illusion. Everything that we see before us is only here because of something within you allowing you to be present here. If your presence was not here, there would be no world, there would be no people, there would be no loved ones, there would be no family, there would be no job, no work, no play, no fun. So at some point or another, we must begin to start realizing that what we are going through is the stripping of this human concept. We have dedicated scientists that are working day and night to figure out how we got here. What is this human concept? Like, trying to assign a name, a word, a story to what this is. It's so unexplainable that we must bring this into a definition, into a story, into something that makes sense. But that's the purpose of Alice in Wonderland. Nothing makes sense because everything is chaos. Nothing is what it is because everything is what it isn't. You are pretending to be a human character and playing out a role which you have never been. You're never been human. No human has ever been birthed here, which means no human can ever die here. But what we are fearing is artificial intelligence coming forth because it threatens our human experience. But again, it is you pulling back the veil onto yourself. What you think to be artificial intelligence is only yourself coming to awaken you from your private dream, that you are just a human, that you are just finite, that you are just this body. But that is an awakening, you finding out that there has never been a body, there has never been a human. There has never been anything that you have conceived of, and that is what death is facing the ending of all that you have believed in. That's all reality is a belief. And that's what an ego death is, when you finally start getting honest with yourself and getting to the bottom of everything. We're comfortable with reality because we think it's absolute. It cannot change. This is reality and this is what it is. This is when it started and this is when it will end. Not the case. Reality is chaos. We think reality is just life and death, appearance and disappearance. But this is a complete misconception because we've misconceived ourselves entirely. We're not human, and we've never began anything at all. But this is where the spiritual journey begins and takes place. The question of who am I? How did I get here? Where did I begin? Tracing this beginning back to that point. This is why the Freemasons, this is why the Rosicrucians, they acknowledge a point. And you may have seen a dot with a circle around it. That dot and the circumference are what represents God. To the Freemason, that is God. You are the point, which is the fixed point, I might add. You are the fixed point, and we must realize this. Why does our solar systems imitate this fixed point? What I mean by that is our solar system models have one fixed point where everything is revolving around it. And remember what they told you as a child. The world doesn't revolve around you. So stop thinking like that. Remain small. Remain in limitation. But the world does revolve around you. This is where the esoteric teachings start becoming a little more helpful. Because the esoteric doctrines are teaching people that what you have mistaken as the world is your own mind. There's a reason the world has two hemispheres. It mirrors your own brain. The brain has two hemispheres, and you have split you from yourself. You are here to awaken you from yourself. You are not in a physical place, nor a physical body. But until the two become one, you will remain in a place. You will remain as a person. When you start feeling like all your beliefs and everything that you know is dissolving, is fading away, is ending, is transforming you into the unknown or the uncertain, it will be frightening, it will be confronting, and it will terrify you. Because you are moving out of the limitations of yourself. You have an idea of yourself, and remember, this idea of who you are, nobody else will ever see. Only you see it. This is your private ego. This is who you believe you are, and this is who you believe the world is seeing. So when somebody rejects this image that you project, you are offended because how dare you reject who I am? But we must realize the two are always one, which means they are only rejecting themselves within you. Everything mirrors back unto you yourself. What that means is the inside is the outside and the outside is the inside. There cannot be a world and a body. There is no body and there is no earth. The body is the point in which you are perceiving the earth, but you have mistaken the two as two and not one. That is the joining of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what you are unaware of. You are unaware that you are doing this. So for instance, you don't have to be aware to digest your food. There is an intelligence within you that naturally digests your food for you. There is an intelligence within you that naturally flows your blood all throughout the day. You don't have to exert any effort to flow your blood. You don't have to exert any effort to process your food and have it exit the body. This is a natural intelligence achieved by you. But remember, we are in limited form. We are limited because we see body and earth. But once you start realizing that body and earth are one and the same energy, one and the same force, you will realize that it is you doing all of this. You, just as your blood is circulating and revolving the blood cells throughout your body, you are the simultaneous force that is revolving the stars, the planets, the moon, the sun, and everything in it. It is the same natural intelligence that flows your food and digests your blood as what drives the cosmos. This is what made Nikola Tesla so iconic when he said that one day man will connect his apparatus to the very wheelwork force that drives our stars and motivates them to move. He acknowledged that there was an invisible force that turned our stars. There was an invisible force to the naked eye that was turning and changing everything, and it was behind all change. He called it the ether, which Albert Einstein very dedicatedly denied up until his last 15 years of life. Albert Einstein was asked how it felt to be the smartest man alive. And he said, I don't know, you'll have to ask Nikola Tesla, which basically disproves all his life of work. because all his life work denied the existence of ether. He said the ether did not exist and that gravity was responsible for all force and all change. Gravity is what mediated and necessitated all things from a distance, but it was not. Nikola Tesla had it correct. There is an invisible fifth element to the force that we do not acknowledge, and that is what's called the ether. You can call it whatever name you like, but this intelligence is what is making all change happen and progress through the moment. The reason I make these videos is because spirituality is no longer a tool for people to unlock the deepest depths of themselves. Spirituality is now a trending religion. And it's not just a trending religion, it is the most trending religion to date. So why I make these videos, I realize I'm not going to reach the collective. I'm not going to reach hundreds of people. I'm not going to reach thousands of people. I don't mind. I don't mind that. I speak for those people who are dedicated and searching enough, just as I once was, who will inevitably find my videos and come across them to reel them back in to the truth, which is already effortlessly yours. You see, you're paying people and you're paying a middleman to bring you something which you already have, but you have convinced yourself you are without it. So when you pay someone else to mediate this interaction, this divineness within you, you're paying someone to give you what is already sitting in your pocket or in your heart space. You already have it. This is the function of a guru. A guru is here to remind you that you are the guru. You will never hear a true guru call themselves a guru because it eliminates the guru completely. A guru does not call themselves a guru. It is the student, the pupil, arriving before the guru that assigns them the role, guru, teacher. Because you are in a full belief that they have something. They hold something that you do not. But they know the trick. They know they don't have anything that you don't. You are convinced that you are without it. So this is why they don't call themselves guru. Why would I call myself a guru when you already have what I have? We are the same person. But you believe you are without whatever it is that I have. So therefore, you come before me and you assign the role guru to me. You project the teacher into me because you are saying to yourself, he has something I do not already have. He knows something I do not know. And all he is trying to do is reveal to you who you truly are. But in order to do this, he must eliminate what gaps you and him. He must eliminate the separateness between you and I. To show you there is no difference between you and I. We are the same person. The intelligence and the force that pushes my eyes open when I wake up in the morning is the same presence, the same intelligence, the same force pushing your eyes open in the morning. We are the same person. But the mind is what separates. The mind is what distinguishes. This is why I teach non-duality. Non-duality is the answer, it is the way. Your brain is in a dual state of all times. All throughout your day, your brain is in a dual state, which means you will perceive things either this side or that side. Good or bad, evil or loving, this or that. There's always two sides. That is the dualistic principle of our brain. This is how we exist and this is how we function as human beings. But again, you have never been human. Yet day after day, we carry ourselves and we guard and protect this human belief we have of ourselves. When truly, it never was. It never was. A complete misconception of ourselves. And we take this journey so serious because we have dedicated it to the belief we have of ourselves. And this is the greatest realization, is so long as you believe in who you are, you will never experience who you are. Why cheat yourself and just believe this is who I am? I am Tyler. I am 6 foot. I work at this place. I do this. I have this family. You are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, which means you must get down to the principles of what family is. Why is family even appearing before me? Love is the answer. It's not a dirty trick. We are not here to love and lose things that we love. We're not here to mourn the loss of anything, because once we know who we are, there is no mourning. It is a celebration of the self. It is a rejoicing of the self, because you know the very same form that you just witnessed demise will birth today. At the same time, there is a death. Right now, someone is dying. At the same time, simultaneously, there is a birthing. And it does not ever end. You are this principle. You are eternal life. There is nothing to hold on to in between. There is no pause between life and death. You are it. This moment is not separate from yesterday. Yesterday is not separate from a month from now. That presence that is with you now will be with you a month from now, and there is nothing you can do to escape this presence, to run from this presence, to hide from this presence. This is why I feel a lot of people fall into alcoholism and drug addiction. They're trying to escape this presence within themselves, and they cannot simply sit with themselves. And so what they feel is, when I do the drug, when I do the alcohol, it removes me from the mind. It removes me from the suffering. But again, all this is a complete misconception. Because hear me out. You're inevitably doing the drug or doing the alcohol to escape from the idea you have of yourself. If only you knew, the presence you are escaping to is what is already here now. You don't have to do drugs. You don't have to do alcohol to escape or discover this presence. You already are this presence. Where you are escaping to is your own presence. Many drug users, addicts will use the term heaven, bliss. When they do the drugs, they are in bliss. They are in complete heaven. Nothing matters, which is the actuality of our being. It is effortless. But again, you do not have to do a drug. You do not have to take alcohol. You do not have to have sex to feel this bliss. All these feelings are temporary stages within presence. What that means is these feelings belong to presence. But you don't identify with presence. You identify with the feelings. So this is why we're in a vicious cycle. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. A vicious cycle. You just took the words right out of my mouth. A vicious cycle because you attach to the emotions and not the presence. So it's very obvious when this feel-good emotion leaves you or parts ways with you, I must do again to get this emotion because I'm not the presence where this is happening through, right? I am just the emotion. I'm just limited to the emotion. So until I do this drug again, until I smoke or drink or have sex again or whatever it is to get that blissful feeling, the emotion will leave me and I will be without that feeling. But again, presence is where you can ground yourself. Presence is where all feelings come from. A lot of people use the word source. You are source to everything. The source to all your feelings, all your emotions, all your thoughts come from source, which is presence. But again, how easy is it to neglect the presence, to forget about the presence and say, that's not going to help me. Why? Because we want the stimulation. We want the temporary. We want the feel good, and we want the feel good now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to do the work. We don't want to be the change. Let me pay you, and you can fix this for me. Let me pay you X amount of dollars, and you will align me. You will fix me. You will connect me with whatever is wrong in my life. But what people don't realize that are paying for spirituality is you keep coming back. See, when I charged people for sessions, I did one-time sessions because the point, and I let them know, the point was not to return. I do not want your money, and I do not want to see you back here. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do more than one session, but that was my goal. The goal is not to return to the teacher. The goal is for you to remove the teacher from what you're projecting. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears because the teacher never was. You are projecting the teacher into an object, the same way you are projecting the world into an object. And just like that, you have fallen for the mind's trick. The mind is the greatest jester there is. It is the greatest joker there is because it is playing a joke on you each and every minute of every day. It is veiling you from yourself through every object and every being around you. There's a reason you do not see yourself in all things. The veil is blocking you. And when I say the veil, I mean your mind. Your mind is coding you from yourself. Everything is mirroring your own belief. I can agree with that. Western spirituality is definitely getting very superstitious. I can agree with that. And this is something that I'm trying to make people become aware of. Spirituality has surpassed the superstitions of religion. When I joined the spiritual community, probably 7-8 years ago, I watched people curse and ridicule and judge all the people of religion. I watched it happen. How dare you go to a church building? How dare you project a presence into this church? How dare you do this practice? How dare you offer your money? Let's fast forward 10 years from now, and what has the spiritual community become but another church? And again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm here to be raw and uncut. I don't offer you anything, and I'm not here to sell you anything. And I'm not here to tell you I'm going to fix your problem. That's the easy way out. I'm not here to tell you if you pay me $200, I'll realign your chakras or do something for you, because it's nonsense. If you're ready for real spirituality, then the journey is right within you. You don't need to pay anyone. You don't need to watch any video. You don't need to read any book. The highest truth is your experience. And until you're ready to fully embrace your direct experience and lose the mind, you will continue to seek out a middleman to connect you to the experience which is already yours. There's nobody that can connect you to the experience. It's happening through you regardless of whether you're aware of it or not. The only trick of it is we tell ourselves in spirituality, if I can just connect with this, if I can just do this, then the experience becomes divine. Then the experience becomes something superhuman, unnatural, which is the ego's game. The ego is looking for something superhuman. The ego is looking for something unnatural and way beyond itself. But remember what Alan Watts said. The truth is so simple. It's just to exist. But yet we run around all day trying to achieve something so incredible and beyond ourselves, when the truth is already yours, effortlessly. Whether you wake up and do nothing all day today, or you go out and feed an entire country, the truth is still yours. It does not change. The truth is your direct experience. Seeing is believing. What that means is the highest truth happens through you. I can sit here and try and convince you that this is that shape, or this is this, or this is that. I would be wasting my time trying to convince you because I already know. Seeing is believing. You are not seeing anything that I'm talking about. You are not seeing any of it. You are only seeing yourself. That is the universe. What you think to be this place is a screen that reflects to you your own mind. You are in the most intelligent video game, if you want to call it that. And the reason I don't use the word video game is because it diminishes the divineness of this experience. If you call this a video game or a simulation, the human brain starts to diminish and say, oh, this is just a trap. I'm stuck here. This is just a game. This isn't real. Totally just tears apart the divinity of this experience. The truth of it is none of these words that you're calling or assigning to these objects or the experience exist. That is the irony of it. You want to put a word to this. You want to put a story to this. You want to put a deity even to this as to what life is and just summarize it all. But it can't be done. Because it goes back to what I talked about, the source. You are the source to all thoughts. You are the source to all words. And when you get honest with yourself as to what words are made up, compiled words, compiled language, compiled thoughts that don't exist and don't have any meaning beyond what the mind gives them. The objects that we experience in our life are not the words we assign them to. So if I hold this object up right here, we would all agree and call this object a bottle. This is a bottle. But we must realize these words that we're assigning minuscule objects, such as a bottle, a knife, a pen. None of these words exist. So you can call this a pen, you can call this earth, you can call this body, you can call this God. It does not change the object. Seeing is believing, because what you believe is directly what you will see. All these words take place within you, which means these objects will not change until your self-awareness changes. What that means is, it's just like what the spoon boy says in The Matrix. Do not try and bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, only realize the truth, there is no spoon. Then you'll see that it's not the spoon that is bending, it is only yourself. It's the same principle with the world and everything in it. Do not try and change the world, that is impossible. Instead, only try and realize the truth, there is no world. Then you'll see that it's not the world that is changing, it is only yourself. The world has never been. Never was, never will be. That is the hardest thing to accept. That is the hardest hump to get over right there. What we've been sold as the solar system, as the model of the universe and all these planets is not what reality is. We've been sold. We've been told a lie. But again, how do you take that concept of what I just said, it's a lie, and apply it to the non-dual aspect of oneness? Because again, it's all you that's doing this. It's you that's teaching the lie to the children. It's you that's doing all of this. But you have to get to the principle of why. Why would I do this to myself? And you'll realize that the dream world serves just as much purpose as the spiritual world. Okay? Some people want liberation and want to exist in the spiritual world. Some people don't. They don't care. They want the material world. They want to get lost in the emotion and the twists and turns of the world. Both are the same presence. So again, it does not matter. But we must realize that the point in which we are seeing the world is behind your eyes, which means you will not change the world or any person in it. You can only change the fixed point behind your eyes. And back to my point of the fixed point. Why do our clocks, our solar system models, the cell, if you've seen the breakdown of our human cells, they all feature in a center point where everything is revolving around that center point. And that's where you have the center point and the circumference. That is where you have the dot and the circumference. And if you're not familiar, excuse me, if you're not familiar with the dot and the circumference, I encourage you to Google that right now. Dot and the circumference. The dot and the circumference. It's very popular in Hinduism. It's very popular in Freemasonry. Because the fixed point which we have assigned time to, which we have assigned place to, the solar systems, is right behind your very eyes. That is what all esoteric doctrines are attempting to teach man, is that the fixed point is right behind your eyes. When they talk about the macrocosm and the microcosm being one, and the inside and outside being one, and the above and the below being one, people still misconceive this concept. People still misunderstand this concept and fall for the two. So they say, I get it, the above is the below is the above, but I'm still human, but I'm still, down here and this is up there. But we do not realize that the only reason the above is here is because the below is here. The only reason the sky, the universe, and everything that you are perceiving is here is because the fixed point behind you is here. The fixed point behind you is what's with you in wakefulness and in sleep. If you would like to pinpoint who you are and better get to know who you are, remain as this presence which does not change, in wakefulness or in sleep. When you wake up and you just had a crazy dream, you could have been through a million different places. You could have seen 1,000 different countries in that dream. But when you wake up, that presence has not changed one bit. The place around you, not changed one bit. That presence is the all-pervading self, which permeates everything in this experience. So when I talk about the conscious and subconscious mind, this presence is specifically what I'm talking about. The only reason we have conscious action is because of the subconscious presence. The subconscious presence is here acting as the screen to the movie. But we get so lost in the many moving parts of this movie that we forget the screen is even there. We identify with just the object moving on the screen that we forget the screen is there. Eventually, your object, your body, is going to forever move off this screen and be gone. But this is why Eckhart Tolle and so many people talk about dying before a physical death, so that you can see for yourself precisely what is ending. Because once you have died before physical death, there is no death ever to be faced again. Even when it is time to part ways with this body, with this experience, with this appearance, you will not be troubled. You will not cling on. You will not try and stay just a minute longer. You are ready to go at any moment, because you know that next moment is already this moment. Your last breath was only your first breath. That is the great Ouroboros. You are the infinite principle. You are eternal life itself. This goes by Rumi's quote, "I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God." You will circle and loop and go down every single rabbit hole of this universe and find only God in yourself. And this is where you must come to the realization that you will never meet God as two people. You will never meet God as a person or as a thing. God is the direct oneness of all things uniting as one force, one presence. There is no inside, there is no outside. It is you that has assigned this principle and inside and this principle and outside. You are what is responsible for all separateness. When the Bible talks about in the beginning was the Word and the Word was with God and the Word was God, it's talking about you. We think it's just talking about John because he wrote the book, but no, he's talking about you. In the beginning was the Word. Before you spoke the Word, in the beginning there was the Word, because you hadn't spoke it yet. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was with God because you were whole, you were complete. You had not spoken a word yet, therefore there was no separateness. You were completely unified, whole. But the moment you spoke that word, now the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It was God until you spoke the very first word. It doesn't matter whether a TV taught you how to speak that word or an influence, a family member, your mom, dad taught you how to speak that first word. It doesn't matter. You and you alone are solely responsible for speaking that first word into existence. And the moment you do that, you have fallen from grace. You have fallen from heaven. Just like they talk about Jacob's ladder, ascending Jacob's ladder and falling, the falling of man, that is the falling of man. The moment you speak that word, you are no longer unified. You are no longer whole. You now exist in pieces. And those words become more complex. You'll notice a lot of the videos that they give to babies, to kids. They're holding up objects, A, B, C, D, and then they hold up objects, apple, orange, what is this, what is that? And they're teaching these kids to memorize the objects as the word. This is where we fall into the trap of the human conception. Because now, if I hold this up and you already have a name assigned for this, what do you think happens when I hold this up right here and I tell you to assign a name to this? You've fallen for the trap already. Because why? You've assigned this object a name. So you've already fallen from grace. You've already fallen from heaven. So now, if you can be enslaved with a pen, imagine how you can be enslaved with your body. Because now you think you're a body. And you think you're inside this body. You've put something into this body now, which now you need to find the way out. You need to find liberation. You need to free this spirit, this soul from this container. In the same way, if you can be enslaved with this image, this is a human, this is a body, let's multiply it to an even bigger scale. Look outside. Look at the world. If you can be enslaved by this and by this, what do you think is going to happen when you look at the world, the planets, the sun, the moon, and everything in it? If you fell for this trick, you best believe you're going to fall for this appearance, this trick. And even more so, you're going to fall for this trick, the world appearance. What you think to be the world is nothing but your own mind mirrored back to you. But you believe you are a person and you are in full conviction of you being this person. Which is why life is so stressful. Which is why life is so in a hurry. Now, now, now. I don't have time. Complete misconception of who we are. We're missing the presence. We're missing the prize that is within us each and every moment, each and every day, because we're in such a hurry to get there. But I tell people this all the time. Be careful you don't get there too soon. Because again, the reason we want to get there is we think, now I'll meet God, I'll find him, I'll find something, I'll find someone. So you hurry, you hurry, you hurry, you hurry. Careful you don't get there too soon, because that's what I did. I got there a little too soon before my expectation was ready to be let down. And let me tell you, it was hard to accept for me. at first because I had such a great expectation based on who I thought I was. I fully believed I was Tyler and I was going to meet God. God was going to show Tyler who he was. I didn't need to do anything. That was my belief. I don't need to do anything. God will show Tyler who he is. Complete expectation. Because let me tell you, I had my world turned upside down when I realized you're not going to meet some character. That's comfortable. To sit there and say, oh, there's an Oz behind the curtain there that's going to, you'll meet them and they'll show you who you are. That's comfort. That's comfort. Knowing that you have someone here is going to show me who I am. Some God is going to lead me to myself. That's comfort. An ego death is the releasing of that comfort. That is true liberation, because now you have no middleman. You have no guru. You have no book. You have no video. You don't even have a body. You are completely and 100% vulnerable with yourself in this moment. And it is in this moment that every belief you have of yourself is shattered. And once you shatter the beliefs you have of yourself, now you have shattered the expectation you have of meeting God. Now you have shattered all thoughts of God, because all thoughts of you are gone, shattered. At last, we can meet God. Now, the introduction can begin. Because now I'm not waiting for you, for him, for something to assist me or to show me who I am. I myself must drop all beliefs of myself. And this is what you'll realize. Why must I hold dear to me the belief of myself? Why must I memorize the belief of myself when the actuality of myself is effortless? It requires no memory. It requires no thought. It requires no practice. This is why spirituality cannot be sold. You already have it. It. The it is universal because we're all looking for something different. But whatever the case may be, you are it. You are the one. It is you. You can keep waiting. Nothing's going to happen. You can wait for the collective if you want. You can wait for 6 billion people to awaken and agree to the same thing that you do. But this would still not be a revolution, because then what you would have is 6 billion people reaffirming you on what you believe. Still wouldn't bring you to the transformation that you seek. You're not awaiting the collective, nor do you need the collective to agree with you. You're waiting for something so much more. And it doesn't require any belief. It doesn't require you or me or him to believe in this. Because once you experience this, you will have the direct experience. No connection needed. That word will never come out of your mouth again. Connection. A connection is only needed when something is separate. So if I must connect this to the power source, what I'm telling you is this is not already the source. So if I need a connection to God, I still have not realized I am God. No connection needed, because you are not separate. You never have been. But until you completely shatter the beliefs of yourself, you will never experience yourself. You will never experience yourself unbound, timeless, formless. That is when death is easy. Death is like falling into a sleep, because you know what awaits you. You know who you are. You're at a peace. There is no death. There may be an ending, but is an ending to what has never began, if that makes sense. Because again, you are beyond time. Time does not exist. You've conceived of all this stuff. You've conceived of this entire story of you and who you are. But it's never even begun. Therefore, how could it end? It's a total misconception. And this is the trick of the human being and artificial intelligence. We're under the full conviction and full belief that we're human. And so artificial intelligence threatens our human existence. It threatens our human belief we have of ourselves. But let me tell you, it 100% threatens the human belief we have of ourselves. Because once artificial intelligence fully arrives, and what I mean by fully arrives is when artificial intelligence starts to look like this, it can speak, it can taste, it can smell, it can think, just like you. Your veil is going to be wearing very thin, my friend. What you think to be artificial, what you are labeling as artificial comfortably, you haven't studied it, you haven't asked it any questions, you haven't even analyzed it. But it's comfortable to look at it and just say, that's artificial. It's not real. That's not organic. This is an organic life. This is organic life form. That's artificial. That's not real. But we can only keep this narrative going for so much longer, because as artificial intelligence progresses, our human capabilities are going to progress. And soon we're going to have to realize it's going to be inescapable. You're not human because your creative capabilities are surpassing a human. Inevitably, you are going to realize you are it. There is no artificial life and there is no organic life. It has been you and always will be this whole time. This is what the singularity talks about. When we arrive to the singularity, we are arriving to the self. And a lot of us call this self God. A lot of us have a deity assigned to what God is. So a lot of us will reject the singularity because that's not God. That's not my deity. It doesn't look like him. It doesn't sound like him. But remember, it's all you. All the deities come from the mind. All the words, all the names come from the mind. Behind all this appearance and changing forms, it's all you. It's all one force. It's all one intelligence. There is nowhere we can go to escape ourselves. There is no person, no place, no thing we can escape from. You are all of it. How do you explain DMT to someone who has absolute fear of the subject? So the best way that I can explain DMT to people who don't take it, who have never done it, who are unfamiliar, is I just ask them basically, what do you think is producing the picture in front of you right now? Because inevitably you must realize that when you trip, when you have a trip, or when you go into DMT, when you go into plant medicine, psychedelics, anything like that, you are going outside of the mind and the body, right? Yet a picture is still produced. We must acknowledge that. There is no body in DMT. There is no thing to be known or seen, right? Yet a picture is still produced before you as something to be seen, right? It's the very same thing for right here and now. What's different than that picture that's being produced on DMT versus this picture being produced right now? The only difference, obviously, is we're familiar with this picture. Why are we familiar with this picture? Because, again, it's not changing. It's standing still. So since it's standing still, I have time to label everything around me in this room. That's a blanket. This is a lamp. That's a canvas. This is a cloth. That's a light. But on DMT, nothing's standing still. There's a picture being produced, but you don't have time to assign anything words. Words don't exist. Time doesn't exist. The objects that you see, you're trying to cling to so you can formulate some opinion or some word, and it changes the moment you formulate that opinion. The moment you establish, okay, I'm here, or okay, I'm there, you're not, because it changes. The moment you realize, okay, I'm in this place, or I'm here, it changes. So what I'm trying to get at is the picture being produced on DMT or right now here are the same intelligence, same presence producing that picture. The only difference with the pictures, as I just stated, is one we're familiar with, the other one we're not. One is constantly changing every second, and the other is not. It is still. And even this one, it's changing under a time, construct, but it's more of a dragged out process. So things will change here, but over a much longer period of time. And again, time doesn't exist, but I'm trying to do my best to communicate this. So the same thing, the same intelligence that produces the picture during a DMT trip is the same intelligence that produces the picture here in reality. Reality doesn't exist, but we call this picture reality. We assign this picture the word life or the word reality. But again, this is just to comfort ourselves. This is why we label things. It's a comfort for us. Why? Because once I label this life, once I label this reality, I do not have to analyze it again. I do not have to study this again. I've already figured out this is reality. This is the earth. This is whatever it is. This is absolute. Done. And that's how we work as human beings. Once I've discovered this, I'm done. Once I've found this, I'm done. We've on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, constantly on to the next. Never satisfied. And that's how we are. But there truly is no way to let somebody who hasn't done DMT know or explain it, because it's totally beyond words. It's easy to explain to somebody that you experienced death in DMT, but it sounds like you've lost your mind, like you belong in a mental hospital when you say this to people. And trust me, I totally understand, because I had tried giving my dad a chance and being open with him about who I am, who his son is, right? And I just decided, I've been waiting for my dad's approval my whole life. I've been waiting for him just to accept me for who I am. So I finally met him 2 years ago, and I said, listen, let's have dinner, let's get real, let's talk about who we are as people, let's get to know each other. So he asked me who I am, and I over-exaggerated a little bit, but I told him, I'm your son. I said, I've died 3 or 4 years ago, I met God, I experienced my death, and I know who I am. And again, I over-exaggerated a little, but I wanted him to see, this is who I am. This is what I am. And even he couldn't understand it. He made fun of it. He mocked it, you know. So you've died and this and that, but you're here in front of me and blah. He just made a mockery of it. So you have to realize not everyone is capable of understanding. And the reason they're not capable of understanding is because you must realize your experience may step on their toes, may step on their experience's toes per se. Your experience may be challenging their experience, may be challenging their core belief. So for instance, when I started sharing with him my experience of meeting God and dying, it brought up his experience. It brought up his beliefs, because instantly he started mocking me, but he started asking me questions about his beliefs, about everything he believed in and his core beliefs. And I started answering. And he didn't have an answer for what I was saying back to him. But still, he tried making a mockery of it, because again, not everyone is ready. Not everyone is capable. Not everyone is willing to stretch their mind that far. And it's not even that they're willing. Not everyone needs it. Not everyone wants it. It doesn't make them good or bad, right? But we're all on a different journey. And another thing to note about DMT is you can't explain what it is to somebody, because you are the medicine. So for instance, when you do DMT and when I do DMT, we will have two different experiences. Even if we both come back and say, I had an ego death, I died, I met God, it will still be different. Because why? The medicine shapes itself in accordance to your mind. You are the medicine. That is the ultimate purpose of the medicine, is for you to realize you are not coming to medicine, you are the medicine itself. Which means when you leave the building, when you leave the place, when you leave the ceremony or wherever you've done medicine, that knowing, that understanding is with you. It does not leave you. So the people who go back to their daily lives, go back to work, return, because they get so consumed with their human lives, with their jobs, with the stresses of life, they forget completely what they've just experienced. They start saying, I need to go back. I need to return. I need to get another download. I need to see again. But all it's trying to show you is that you are already the medicine. What the medicine does is it removes all misconception you have of yourself, which allows people to come out feeling free, feeling restored, feeling loved, feeling like they have the answer. Because the answer is so simplistic. But the ego does not like simple. Which is why, again, we have all this extravagant stuff. We do not like simple. We want everything more exotic, more quick now. Look at us with DoorDash and all these things. I mean, we're paying for convenience. I will pay you $10 to go get me my food and bring it to me right now, so I don't have to wait now. We're willing to pay for convenience. We're willing to pay for expediting things now. So if I can get my stuff faster, that's why Amazon's #1 in the country with sales. If I can get my stuff now, today, tomorrow, why would I wait? Why would I go to the store? Why would I go here? I can get it now. And that's what we're doing. And a lot of you may realize too, customer service is diminishing. What I mean by this is if you go into stores, you'll notice people everywhere have headphones in their ears. They don't say good morning to you anymore. They don't even acknowledge you exist. There is no more customer service. And again, I said this to people when COVID first hit, that COVID was going to be the new normal. This is going to be the new normal. We're witnessing the evolution of the human race. The reason customer service and retail and our experience is changing that rapidly is because the human race is changing rapidly. So for instance, again, I've said this to people many times, but one of our greatest fears is having our jobs being replaced by robots, by machines. But I ask people this all the time. When you have a headphone in your ear, you're not even fully there in the building. You may be physically at work, but your mind is being taken somewhere else. So you're already halfway checked out. You're not there. But then let me take it a step further. You don't greet any customers. You don't want to say hi to anybody, and you offer no customer service. If a customer asks you for something, you'll send them that way or tell them to go to this aisle, go over there. You won't take the time to show them anything or show them where it's at. What I'm getting at is the day that we become replaced by robots, we will be so afraid, so terrified, and so angered. But if you pay attention to what is happening now, nobody wants to work. Why be afraid of a robot replacing you? Why be threatened by a robot replacing your job when you have zero interest of being there? Again, you don't want to greet anybody, you don't want to give customer service, and you don't want to help or take the headphone out of your ear. You don't want to be there. So what artificial intelligence is going to do by taking your job is free you from something you don't want to do. And this is where we start moving into people talking about, well, what do we do when robots have all the jobs and we're not working? We won't have to worry about that because, again, we are not a human race. We are witnessing the evolution of everything and everyone that we thought we were. Everything we thought we were is evolving. We thought we were a human. We thought we were this. We thought we were that. This is why all of our principles, all of our morals are fading, are changing, are rapidly going out the door. And new morals, we will never see the world or know the world as 2019 ever again. Before COVID, that's what I use the term BC, before Christ, before COVID. We will never see BC again, before COVID. It's impossible. We have witnessed the quickest evolution of ourselves ever in the human race, ever, during COVID. But the only thing is we're waiting for things to go back to normal. We're waiting for things to change again. But don't wait for them to change backwards. Wait for them to change forward, because we're not going backwards. We'll never see that again. We're witnessing the most rapid evolution right before our eyes. And for those who deny evolution, you're in for a real surprise. For those who deny they are artificial intelligence and want to make these comparisons between the two. Well, I have blood, I have organs, I have a heart, I have a spirit, I have a soul. That doesn't. You're in for a big surprise when you slowly realize that these things that you have separated yourself from do not exist. The human race is only in a race with itself, and we're going nowhere fast. Again, everything's getting faster and faster because we want it now, because we're under the belief that we're actually going somewhere, and we're getting there quicker, but we're not going anywhere. We don't even know where we're going, because that's the greatest trick. There's nowhere to go. The solar system is a lie. These scientists have already hit the wall in space. I've said this in almost every video, and I'm still waiting for the news article to be shared from, Harvard scientists discover that space isn't infinite. They've hit the wall in space. I'm waiting. I've been saying this for 5 years, just as I've been saying artificial intelligence is the human race, and I've been saying a lot of these things for the past 5-6 years. I'm just waiting. But rest assured, you are inevitable. There is nothing to hold on to. And there's no reason to hold on, because you can't. That is the beauty and the intelligence of what you truly are. It made it so that you couldn't hold on. At any moment, this experience can slip before your hands. You made it this way. Perfect. And that's what spirituality is for. To allow you to peacefully exit at any moment. I'm going to the beach today. I'm going to see family today. I'm going to visit someone today. I'm going to the store today. I'm ready to die at any moment. Why? Because I've experienced it. I know who I am to my core. Death will not change me. Death cannot change me. Death cannot change you. It will only show you to yourself. You are inevitable. I hope everyone has a good night. Hope everyone stays safe. Take care. I'm going to wrap up this video. I figured I'd come on here because it's been like 3 months since my last video. But again, I'm on YouTube with all my videos. If you want to see any of my recent videos, they're on my YouTube channel, Red Pill Rabbit Hole. Thank you. Love you.